Well, here I am again after being put in a hospital, which I found completely appalling. I think rules become dangerous in certain circumstances when they use them to trap people. Now, I can't be sure about everything and every detail, but there were lots of things that were off to me, and I understood that it would be quite easy for the government to kidnap human beings and hide them away in government buildings. I mean, a hospital would probably be one place, but I'm sure there are others, and they keep these people captive and use them as lab rats and basically torture them. I think they've been doing this for quite a while. I think what they do is, this is a way they make money. I mean, the population is too big. I think they do. It's not that, you know, we were meant to die. It's that they let us die, or they basically make sure we die by poisoning us. I've talked about this before. They're putting sicknesses in the air. And mind you, I can't be quite sure of everything they put in there, but it was obvious to me. I mean, I could tell. I start feeling uncomfortable when they pump stuff into the air, and that's obvious in my videos. Sorry if I'm rocking. It's just my thing. I'm autistic and I'm a bit stressed, so I'm just trying to relax, and it's something I do. I've always done since I'm a kid. And, well, anyway, in my home I can just walk out. I'm free. You know? But in that hospital, I was made a prisoner, and it was ridiculous the way some of these nurses and nurses' aides and even doctors acted, and to me, kind of suspicious. But anyway, they put me in the intensive care unit, in the psychiatric intensive care unit. And in that place, the windows are bolted shut, so you can't get air. And they make sure to lock you in that room and make sure that you breathe whatever they want you to breathe, because seriously, that's what they do. They wouldn't let me block my face, you know? They wouldn't let me put a towel, put a blanket, or just my hand over my nose and my mouth, because I could tell I was breathing shit. It was obvious. I mean, seriously, I'm never sick because I can get away from these poisons that they put in the air. I mean, there's the estrogen, and then there's the drugs to medicate me, to put me to sleep. So the thing is that in that place I couldn't just do whatever I wanted. They couldn't let me. They wouldn't even let me. Sometimes I would put toilet paper in my nose, in my nostrils, just to stop it from burning. I mean, now it's fine. It's okay. Windows open. And also, when I moved to another level in the hospital, Notre Dame, the CHUM in Montreal, the old hospital. Well, I could get the window to open, so that helped a lot to get air in. But I still, I think I have to protect my ears a little better. And but anyway, I never get sick. You know, I spent a lot of this winter outside because I was being given estrogen, and I could tell, I could tell that something was going on, or they would try to put me to sleep, and it was absurd how much they pump into my home, in where I lived, and I couldn't even open the window there because the person I lived with wouldn't let me, which I found kind of nuts. I mean, seriously, I don't think there's a person on earth that should be living in a room without a window that opens, or a door that opens to outside, or some kind of way to breathe. These hospital rooms are death traps, seriously. with bolts in the window. And even if you're in intensive care, I mean, what, you can't find a more original way to make sure that the window doesn't open more than a little bit and that can't be broken? Because I could. I mean, I don't think anybody, uh, you know, could say the opposite. It's easy. You could use pieces of metal and shape them the way you want, and just bolt them in so that oh, what, you can't think of a way so that they people wouldn't hurt themselves on it? Well, maybe I could. Seriously, at least a little bit. Windows should all open a little bit, at least that much. So, I mean, the way they do this, it is kind of strange. It's kind of hard to explain, and I'm going to try to do that for you. And the whole point is that, these nurses. I mean, this one nurse is like, I'm like, you're insulting my intelligence. Seriously, because I would put my blanket over my head or around my face because I didn't want to breathe their shit. I mean, I was blocking the oxygen, and it was a danger. I'm like, huh? You want to see my face because you want to make sure it's me? Well, I can pull it down. There you go. Hello. There. I'm there. Big deal. What's the big deal? Don't you want me to breathe that stuff in while you were locked in your offices, completely sealed off? Yeah. It was so odd. It made no sense, seriously. I mean, women walk around with veils around most of their face. And seriously, if that was a problem, there's so many... I mean, what about surgeons who wear masks on their face? Why don't you just give the patient a mask, seriously? What's the big deal? I'm in a hospital. I don't want to get sick. I feel something's coming, and I'm going to put a mask on. That should be very easy to do. Why not? What's the problem? Nice Nicole. Old woman. I'm like, oh my god, seriously. I'm not that stupid. There's a whole bunch of careers, a whole bunch of jobs, a whole bunch of things you do with masks on your nose and your mouth. What's the big deal with a blanket? What, you want me to get sick? Well, I was able to ward it off a bit for a while, but I mean, they keep pumping that shit in the rooms and in my face. I'm like, holy fucking crap. It is easy for the government to pump shit into people's homes and into these rooms. And I will say it, hospitals with those rooms, they're death traps. And, I mean, somebody should ask to have a window open. It should be open. And seriously, if a patient says that there's a problem with the air, well, then you should check it out. This is a hospital. There's a bunch of shit floating around in the air. I mean, the rest of it, seriously, clean. I mean, they got plenty of people cleaning it up. And I know they want to cut in those jobs. I'm sorry for those people, but I don't want to put them down. But I do think they do a great job, and they keep the place really, really clean. There's no way that things could spread that easily. They're clean. And nurses generally very clean. So it doesn't even make sense. And even lots of the patients, most patients are pretty clean themselves. They'll disinfect their hands, though. I mean, seriously. It's ridiculous. And there's definitely something wrong and off about that. I mean, what hospital shouldn't have, aeration, or I don't know what to call it, but shouldn't have good, air circulation and, check the air to make sure there's no shit in it. I mean, seriously, we're sharing the air with a bunch of other people, and you're going to lock us in there without any air and without any systems to air out the place? No, it's like those hospitals and those rooms and those, I've seen apartments like this without windows. I'm like, those should not exist. And I imagine those would be kind of death traps too. And it's sad because in the winter our homes become a bit of a death trap too, because it's freezing shit cold out there. I mean, and they could just pump anything in there. Oh, I know, they could just pump anything they want into people's houses. And I know because I've had the experience. That's most of the time. That's where the problem lies. Because I'm gonna watch what I drink. I'm gonna watch what I leave lying around. If I open something, I'll try to finish it right away. There's a whole bunch of little things you can do to kind of like assure yourself that you're being careful. And even, you know, when you go out and the way you touch things and everything you do is like seriously. And I've done it, and I just don't get sick any other way. It's the stupid air in my homes that keeps being poisoned.